There we go, my 376 scholar kill, and I did not make as much of a mess as last time.
Qin Shi Huang, I don't think the audience knows what you're doing.
Well, of course they do. It's pretty obvious that I'm stabbing a scholar.
Yes, but why are you doing it? To find out, let's go back to 259 BC. Over 2,200 years ago, in the state of Qin in northwest China, a man by the name of Zhuang Jiang was harboring his newborn child with the child's rich mother, Lu Bu Wei. Zhuang Jiang was the king of the Qin state thanks to the financial capabilities of Lu Bu Wei. The child's birth name was Zhao Zeng, a person that would become known under another name and become one of China's most influential leaders in history. During this period of time, through the 4th and 3rd centuries BC, China was not the one, whole, unified and together nation as we know of it today, but rather split into many different states, each with their own kings, politicians, laws and cravings to be superior. When little Zhao Zeng was born, the states consisted of Chu, Zhao, Yan, Han, Wei, and the biggest of all, Qin. This is good for Zhao Zeng, as his state had already gained a lot of power when he was crowned as king, but bad because everyone else hated the fact that his state was the largest. Which brings us to when Zhao Zeng actually got into power. In 246 BC, Zhao Zeng was destined for the throne, and at only 13 years old.
Now, Zhao Zeng, time to get off that now.
What? Why?
You're the king now.
Zhao Zeng would soon become the great, ruthless and murderous ruler and emperor of China, known as Qin Shi Huang. But what made him so great, ruthless and murderous?
When Zhao Zeng was finally of age to actually rule in 236 BC, he immediately took action in exiling, executing, and taxing everyone. However, Zhao Zeng had other, much more ambitious views for the future. The Qin state slowly grew in size, and under the rule of Zhao Zeng, China was finally unified under one power. The new emperor named Qin Shi Huang under the newly formed Qin Dynasty, the first dynasty, all following legalism.
Qin Shi Huang, during his reign as emperor of the Qin Dynasty, did many notable things, some of which are still relevant today, though most fell out of practice after his death. He is known for the development of legalism, a philosophy that was and is so successful we still use it today to keep the peace in, for example, the law. Of course, as mentioned before, he was the first emperor of the First Empire of China, the first time in hundreds of years that China was unified under one person or rule. However, due to his obsession with implementing legalism, he oppressed anyone who disagreed with him. He did command the Great Wall of China to first be built, which was important in its own way, as it was both for the protection of China and a symbol of China's strength.
Qin Shi Huang was also notably obsessed with the afterlife, going to extreme measures such as sending hundreds of men to the end of the earth to find the elixir of life. When Qin Shi Huang finally died, which was likely from the elixir of life, which was likely poison, he was placed in his famous, huge catacomb embedded into a mountain surrounded by the iconic terracotta warriors. However, before his death, he did kill many people, including 460 or so scholars that were said to oppose his ways and were therefore executed. We'll touch on that later. Qin Shi Huang had many positives, but also lots of negatives. Some positive things he did was building the Great Wall of China. It would serve as one of the best defenses of their time and also served as a pathway for transporting materials. He also unified the Chinese script and currency, which would allow for much easier trading and communicating. A negative was that he was extremely cruel and would do anything to promote legalism. This ended up with over 460 scholars executed. He also killed around 1,500,000 people with his army and guards to gain his position, including burning towns, publicly executing the people that opposed him, and raiding villages.
Today I'm joined by one of Qin Shi Huang's supporters, Le Si, who both believes in the philosophy of legalism, originally thought of the burning of the books, and was the chancellor of Qin Shi Huang during his reign. Thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure.
So it is true that you support him and his philosophy legalism?
Yes, it is in fact true. I was the person who helped Qin Shi Huang reach his true power and bring China together under his great philosophy of legalism.
It is also true that you originally thought of the burning of the books.
all of Qin Shi Huang's true supporters helped burn the books. But yes, I was the one to organise the whole thing. But I believe that the scholars who supported such heretical texts should have been burned as well.
The people who opposed him were usually people that were already in a high position in society, as he made the rich pay much more tax than the poor, who also opposed him, as many poorer people were sent to work in public, laborious building projects. Other people who opposed his ways were the people that didn't support or agree with legalism.
Legalism is bad! You're burning all our books and murdering our scholars! How dare you! What?
Opposes even went as far as plotting 3 assassination attempts, all of which failed.
He is seen today by most people as a cruel and strict dictator that, although unified China, burned or killed many scholars that did not follow legalism. Nowadays, it is not a good look if you are burning books, killing lots of innocent people who simply oppose a view and suppress the word of the people. Therefore, for most people, he is seen as a villain.
Overall, I'm sure we can all agree that Qin Shi Huang was a revolutionary, valiant, clever, powerful, imposing, dangerous, murderous, power-hungry, ego-obsessed, narcissistic, hypocritical, entitled, and megalomaniac first emperor of China, who was so obsessed with being immortal, he ended up dying by drinking a so-called elixir of life, which was actually the highly poisonous substance mercury.
But this was recommended by my best philosopher.
But was he a hero or a villain? We believe that due to his villainous actions of oppressing the people who didn't support him, executing the people that opposed him, and being cruel to the country that he just unified, he can be seen as a villain.